The silent invasion. High Overseer Xareth stood motionless before the quantum projection, his crystalline form refracting patterns of distress across the chamber walls. The data streams flowing through the projection showed something that should have been impossible. Primitive bipedal creatures casually breaking through the most sophisticated security protocols in known space. "Play it again," he commanded, his harmonic voice resonating through the archive's central chamber. The recording shimmered to life once more. A human educational facility called MIT, a basement laboratory, and a group of young humans celebrating around what appeared to be a jury-rigged quantum processor cobbled together from consumer electronics. "We did it. The quantum blockchain is live," one of them shouted, their primitive vocalizations translated by the archive systems. The human's crude device was somehow generating quantum signatures that matched the collective's most advanced computing arrays, technology that had taken the combined effort of 17 civilizations over 3 millennia to perfect. "Impossible," murmured Second Archon Vodalra, her crystalline form pulsing with deep blue concern. "Their species only achieved rudimentary spaceflight 7 decades ago. They shouldn't even understand quantum entanglement at this level, let alone be able to replicate our security protocols." Xareth's response was interrupted by a cascade of alerts across the quantum network. More human quantum signatures were appearing, not just at their centers of learning, but in their homes, their entertainment devices, their primitive data centers. They weren't just replicating the technology. They were improving it, implementing it in ways the collective had never considered. "The humans call it quantum mesh networking," explained Third Archon Kex, their form flickering with analytical patterns. "They're treating quantum entanglement like their primitive wireless internet. It's crude, chaotic, completely unstructured. And it's working better than our systems that took millennia to perfect." The implications were staggering. The collective had maintained its position as the galaxy's primary civilization through its absolute control of quantum communication technology. Their security protocols were unbreakable, their networks impenetrable. Until now. "We've been observing them for decades," Vylra noted, projecting historical data into the shared space. "Their development has been concerning. They achieve in years what should take centuries, but their methods are dangerous, uncontrolled." The projection shifted to show human history, their rapid technological progression from primitive combustion engines to rudimentary AI in mere centuries, their chaotic but effective approach to solving complex problems, their stubborn refusal to follow established scientific principles when those principles didn't suit their needs. "They don't understand why it shouldn't work, so they make it work anyway," Kex observed, their crystalline surface rippling with what passed for amusement among their kind. "Their quantum processors shouldn't function. Their error correction is practically non-existent. Their entanglement patterns are messy. They're violating half the established laws of quantum computing. But somehow that's making them more efficient." A new alert flashed across the quantum network. The humans had just established their first extrasolar quantum link, connecting their colonies on Mars with a research station orbiting Europa. The signal was crude but undeniable. They were expanding. "We must make contact," Xareth declared, his decision resonating through the chamber. "The humans cannot be allowed to continue developing this technology unsupervised. The risks to the galactic quantum network are too great. The Committee of Species will never approve direct contact with such a young civilization," Vylra cautioned. "They're barely out of their gravity well, still fighting among themselves. Their social structures are chaotic at best." She was interrupted by another cascade of alerts. The humans had just launched a quantum-enabled probe toward Alpha Centauri. Their crude but effective quantum processors were allowing for instantaneous communication across distances that should have required complex relay networks. "The committee's approval is irrelevant," Xareth declared, his crystalline form pulsing with decisive patterns. "The humans have already done what 17 elder races declared impossible. They've broken every rule of quantum physics because no one told them they couldn't. If we don't establish contact soon, they'll stumble across the Galactic quantum network, and given their demonstrated capabilities, they'll probably start improving it before they even realize what it is. The three Archons watched as more human quantum signatures appeared across their solar system. Their unstructured, chaotic approach to quantum computing was spreading exponentially, each new node in their network making the whole system more stable rather than less, a result that violated every principle of quantum physics the collective held sacred. "Prepare a contact team," Sareth commanded. "We need to understand how they're achieving these results, and we need to contain this situation before." Another alert flashed, this one causing all three crystalline forms to pulse with alarm. A human quantum signature had just appeared in the Proxima Centauri system. Somehow, they had managed to extend their crude quantum network across light years, without any of the sophisticated relay systems the collective required. "Too late," Kex observed, their form flickering with what might have been excitement. "They're already out there, and they don't even realize what they've done." The three Archons watched as more human quantum signatures began appearing across nearby star systems. Their impossible technology was spreading, their chaotic methods threatening to upend millennia of established quantum theory. The galaxy's carefully ordered systems were about to meet humanity's chaotic innovation, and nothing would ever be the same. "Contact Protocol 7, Sareth declared, initiating the emergency first contact procedures. The humans must be contained, their technology understood, their development guided. But as they watched another impossible human quantum signature appear in a system that should have been far beyond their reach, all three Archons shared the same unspoken thought. They weren't going to be containing humanity. They were going to have to catch up to them. Digital pioneers. Dr. Sarah Chen stared at her lab's main display in disbelief, running the diagnostics for the 13th time. The results hadn't changed. Their quantum mesh network wasn't just working. It was performing at efficiency levels that violated half a dozen supposedly immutable laws of physics. "Run it again," she told her graduate student, Maya Patel, who was practically bouncing with excitement beside her. "And someone please tell me why our error correction is showing negative numbers. That's not supposed to be possible." "That's the thing, Dr. Chen," Maya said, pulling up another set of readings. "We think the errors are actually making it more stable. It's like the quantum noise is somehow reinforcing the signal instead of degrading it." The MIT basement lab was crowded with sleep-deprived students and researchers, all gathered around various displays showing the same impossible results. What had started as a failed attempt to create a more efficient cryptocurrency mining system had somehow turned into something far more significant. "The entanglement patterns are all wrong," muttered Dr. James Rodriguez, their quantum mechanics expert, running his hands through his disheveled hair. "We're breaking every rule in the book. This shouldn't work. The math says it can't work. But..." He gestured at the main display where their tiny quantum network was humming along, transmitting data instantaneously between nodes with an efficiency that made traditional quantum computers look like pocket calculators. "Maybe the rules are wrong," suggested Wei Chang, their youngest PhD candidate. He'd been the one to suggest using consumer-grade quantum processors instead of the expensive lab equipment. Or maybe we're just looking at them wrong. Sarah remembered dismissing Wei's idea initially. Consumer quantum processors were notoriously unreliable, filled with manufacturing defects and inconsistencies. But when their main quantum computer had broken down again, she'd let him try his quantum mesh concept out of sheer frustration. Now they were watching those same defects and inconsistencies somehow work together to create something that shouldn't exist. "The network's growing again," Maya announced, pointing to a new node appearing on their map. "Someone in the engineering department just connected their quantum gaming rig to our mesh. And look at these efficiency numbers." Sarah watched in amazement as the network's performance actually improved with the addition of the gaming system's crude quantum processor. It defied everything they knew about quantum computing. More nodes should have meant more errors, more instability. Instead, each new connection made the whole system more stable. "It's like they're talking to each other," Wei said, excitement evident in his voice. The quantum processors, they're compensating for each other's errors automatically. The more diversity in the network, the better it performs. That's not how quantum entanglement works, James protested weakly, but his eyes were fixed on the data streams showing exactly that happening. A notification popped up on Sarah's phone. Another research team at Stanford had replicated their results using an even more haphazard collection of quantum processors, and another at Oxford, and another in Tokyo. "It's spreading," she whispered, watching as more nodes appeared on their global map. "Every quantum processor that connects to the mesh becomes part of it. They're all working together, creating a quantum network that—" She trailed off as new data filled their screens. The network wasn't just transmitting data anymore. It was optimizing itself, finding new patterns of entanglement that no one had ever theorized could exist. "Dr. Chen," Maya called out, her voice tense with excitement. "The Mars Colonial Authority just connected their quantum systems to our mesh. The signal, there's no delay. Zero latency across planetary distances." The lab erupted in cheers, but Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. They'd just achieved instantaneous communication between planets using cobbled-together consumer technology. Something that should have required massive infrastructure and energy expenditure was happening almost as an afterthought. "We need to publish this," James said, already typing furiously. "The implications for quantum theory alone." "Wait," Sarah interrupted, something nagging at the back of her mind. "If we can do this with our primitive technology, who else might be out there, watching us figure out how to tap into something bigger?" The lab fell silent as the implications sank in. Their quantum mesh network was expanding exponentially, reaching further into space with each new connection. And if they could achieve instantaneous communication across the solar system with jerry-rigged equipment. "Check this out," Wei called out, pointing to a strange pattern in the quantum noise. I think there's something else out there. In the quantum field. Like echoes of other networks." Sarah leaned in, studying the patterns. They were subtle, almost hidden in the background quantum fluctuations, but they were there. Regular patterns that couldn't be natural. "Keep this quiet," she ordered, her mind racing with possibilities. "No publishing yet. We need to understand what we've actually stumbled into here. Because I don't think we're the first ones to find it. We just might be the first ones to do it wrong enough to make it work better." As if in response to her words, new patterns appeared in the quantum noise. Regular, structured, almost like. "Is that a signal?" Maya asked, her voice barely a whisper. Sarah stared at the patterns emerging from the quantum field. "No," she said slowly, watching as the alien signatures became clearer. "I think it's a door. And I think we just knocked on it." The quantum mesh network hummed around them, its chaotic connections reaching further into space with each passing moment. Humanity had stumbled onto something vast and ancient, and they'd done it by breaking all the rules that had governed it for millennia. Somewhere out there, someone had noticed, and they were about to answer. Embassy. The crystalline beings materialized in MIT's quantum research lab with a precision that made Sarah Chen's breath catch in her throat. One moment the space was empty. The next, 3 towering forms of living crystal stood before them, refracting light in patterns that seemed to carry meaning. Nobody screamed. Nobody ran. The assembled researchers just stared, their minds trying to process what they were seeing. The quantum mesh network hummed around them, its chaotic patterns suddenly alive with new signatures. "We are the archons of the collective," the tallest crystal being announced, its voice somehow resonating directly in their minds. "We have come concerning your quantum network incursion." Sarah stepped forward, her heart pounding, but her voice steady. "I'm Dr. Sarah Chen. This is my team, and we haven't incurred into anything. We built our own network." The crystalline forms shifted, creating patterns that suggested surprise or possibly amusement. "You have inadvertently accessed the galactic quantum infrastructure," the second being explained. "You're Unusual methods have created significant disruption. Disruption. Maya spoke up from behind her terminal. Our mesh is working perfectly. Look at these efficiency ratings. We're getting better results every time we add a new node. That is precisely the problem. The third crystal being stated. Your quantum processors are crude, unrefined, riddled with what you would call defects. They should not function at all. Instead, they are achieving results that violate fundamental laws of quantum mechanics. Sarah watched as holographic displays materialized in the air, showing their quantum mesh network spreading across the solar system. But now she could see something else. Vast, ordered patterns underlying the quantum field, like an infinite crystalline lattice, and their messy, chaotic network was somehow weaving itself into that structure, changing it. You're saying we accidentally hacked the galaxy's internet? Wei asked, his eyes wide with wonder. A gross oversimplification. The first Archon responded, but not entirely inaccurate. Your species has stumbled upon principles that took the collective millennia to master, and you have implemented them incorrectly. Incorrectly but effectively, the second Archon added, its crystalline form shifting in what might have been agitation. Your quantum mesh network is achieving efficiency levels that should not be possible. The errors in your systems are somehow creating beneficial interference patterns. Sarah moved to her main display, pulling up their latest test results. It's because we're not trying to eliminate the errors, she explained. We're letting the quantum processors talk to each other, compensate for each other's flaws. The more diverse the network becomes, the better it performs. That is not how quantum mechanics functions, the third Archon stated firmly. Apparently it is, James muttered from his workstation. Because we're doing it. The Archons conferred in patterns of light, their crystalline forms refracting complex meanings. Sarah could sense their unease, their struggle to reconcile what they were seeing with what they knew to be possible. Your species has been accessing restricted quantum channels, the first Archon finally announced. Your uncontrolled experiments risked destabilizing communication systems that span the galaxy. Then help us understand them, Sarah proposed, her mind racing with possibilities. Work with us. Maybe we're seeing something you've missed precisely because we don't know what's supposed to be impossible. Another conference of light patterns. Sarah could almost feel the weight of millennia behind their deliberations. The collective had built their quantum networks with careful precision, each step planned and tested over centuries. And here was humanity, barging in with jury-rigged equipment and rewriting the rules by accident. A formal exchange of knowledge may be necessary, the first Archon conceded. Your species' approach to quantum mechanics, while dangerously unstructured, has produced results that cannot be ignored. We will establish an embassy, the second Archon added. Your quantum mesh network must be integrated properly into the galactic infrastructure before it causes irreparable damage. Sarah glanced at her team, seeing the same mix of excitement and defiance on their faces. We're happy to work with you, she said carefully, but we're not shutting down our network. It's already spread too far, and it's helping too many people. The Archon's forms flickered with what might have been annoyance. The network must be properly structured, the third Archon insisted. The quantum field cannot sustain such chaos. Actually, Maya interrupted, pointing to her display. The quantum field is getting stronger. Look at these coherence patterns. Our chaos is making the whole system more robust, not less. The Archons studied the data, their crystalline forms refracting patterns of confusion and what might have been growing understanding. Humanity had charged into the quantum realm like children splashing in a pool, ignorant of the complex physics of fluid dynamics, but somehow staying afloat through sheer enthusiasm. We will need time to study these effects, the first Archon declared. Your species has achieved something unprecedented. Whether that is beneficial or catastrophic remains to be determined. Why not both? Sarah suggested with a smile. In our experience, the best breakthroughs usually are. The crystalline beings shifted again, and Sarah could have sworn she saw something like resignation in their light patterns. Humanity had stumbled onto the galactic stage in the most human way possible, by accidentally improving something they didn't even know existed. The embassy will open within one planetary rotation, the first Archon announced. We have much to discuss. As the crystalline beings prepared to depart, Sarah noticed new patterns forming in their quantum mesh network. The ordered structure of the galactic quantum field was beginning to adapt, incorporating their chaotic innovations rather than rejecting them. One last thing, she called out. We're planning to launch a quantum-enabled probe to Alpha Centauri next week. Will that be a problem? The Archon's forms flickered with what was definitely alarm. That would be premature, the second Archon stated firmly. It's already on its way, Wei admitted. The launch countdown started an hour ago. We thought we were just testing long-range quantum communications. Sorry. The crystalline beings conferred again, their patterns suggesting both exasperation and a growing recognition that humanity wasn't going to wait for permission to explore their new capabilities. We will adapt, the first Archon finally declared. As your quantum mesh has shown us, sometimes incorrect methods produce unexpected benefits. They vanished as precisely as they had appeared, leaving behind a lab full of humans already planning their next impossible experiment. The galaxy's carefully ordered quantum networks were about to experience something they hadn't encountered in millennia. Evolution through chaos, and humanity was just getting started. Network crisis. The embassy's quantum command center was chaos incarnate. Crystalline Archons flickered with patterns of distress, while human technicians rushed between holographic displays, their jury-rigged quantum interfaces clashing with the collective's ancient systems. Another 73 nodes just went dark, Maya reported, her fingers dancing across her modified quantum terminal. Whatever's attacking the network, it's spreading faster than we can track it. High Overseer Xareth's form pulsed with urgent patterns. Impossible. The quantum infrastructure has safeguards, redundancies, security protocols developed over thousands of years. Which is exactly the problem. Sarah Chen interrupted, studying the cascade of failing nodes across the galactic map. Your security is too perfect, too structured. This attack isn't breaking your protocols. It's using them against you. 3 weeks had passed since first contact, and the galaxy's quantum networks were under assault from an unknown entity. The collective's carefully ordered systems were falling one by one, each perfect security measure becoming another weapon in the attacker's arsenal. The Viridians, third Archon Kex announced, their form flickering with grim certainty. They finally made their move. The who? Wei asked, not looking up from where he was rapidly reconfiguring quantum processors. A species we believed extinct, Xareth explained. They were removed from the collective for attempting to weaponize the quantum infrastructure. Their approach to quantum mechanics was deemed too aggressive, too volatile. You mean they tried to hack it like we did? Maya suggested. No. Kex's pattern showed something like a shutter. They tried to control it, to impose absolute order on quantum chaos. When we stopped them, they disappeared into dark space. We thought them dead. Sarah watched another cluster of nodes vanish from the network. The attack was beautiful in its precision, each security protocol triggering the next in a cascade of failure that spread like crystallizing ice across the quantum field. They're not trying to destroy the network, she realized, seeing the pattern. They're trying to freeze it, to lock every quantum state into perfect, unchanging order. The ultimate expression of their philosophy, Xareth confirmed. They believe quantum uncertainty is a flaw to be corrected. Their attack will transform the entire network into a single, perfect, unchanging crystal of quantum states. That would kill it, James protested. Quantum systems need uncertainty. They need fluctuation and error too. He stopped, his eyes widening. That's it. That's why our mesh network is still running. Sarah saw it too. While the collective's perfect quantum channels were falling to the Viridian attack, Humanity's chaotic mesh network was somehow adapting, its very imperfections making it resistant to the spreading crystallization. "Our errors are saving us," she breathed. "The quantum processors are too messy, too unpredictable. The attack can't lock them down because they're already wrong in ways it doesn't expect. Can we weaponize that wrongness?" Maya asked, already typing. "Spread our chaos to the infected nodes." "Blasphemy," one of the junior archons protested. "The quantum infrastructure cannot be subjected to such disorder. The quantum infrastructure is about to become a very expensive paperweight if we don't try something." Sarah snapped. She turned to Kareth. "We need access to your core systems, full access, and we need it now." The High Overseer's crystalline form rippled with internal conflict. Giving humans unrestricted access to the quantum infrastructure went against millennia of protocol, but they were watching those same protocols fail in real time. "What do you intend?" "We're going to introduce some chaos into the system," Sarah explained, already moving to the main quantum interface. "Your security is too perfect, too predictable. We need to make it messy. Human messy." "The damage," the junior archon began, "will be less than what happens if we do nothing," Sareth interrupted. His form shifted, interfacing with the quantum systems. "You have your access, Dr. Chen. May your species' chaos prove more beneficial than our order." Sarah's fingers flew across the interface as she uploaded the core protocols of their quantum mesh network into the collective systems. Around her, her team was doing the same, each introducing their own variations and errors into the quantum field. "It's working," Maya shouted. The crystallization pattern was hitting the modified nodes and stuttering, unable to handle the unpredictable quantum states humanity had introduced. "More chaos," Sarah ordered. "Wei, upload your gaming network protocols. James, we need those error-generating algorithms you've been working on. Maya, start connecting everything to everything else. Make it as messy as possible." The quantum field came alive with human chaos. Consumer-grade processors connected to ancient quantum arrays, gaming networks interfaced with galactic communication systems, and error correction protocols that were wrong in exactly the right ways spread through the infrastructure like a benevolent virus. The Viridian attack hit this wall of quantum chaos and began to fragment. Its perfect crystalline pattern couldn't account for the sheer wrongness humanity had introduced into the system. Where it tried to impose order, it found only unpredictable change. "Quantum crystallization failing," Kex reported, their patterns showing amazement. "The network is healing itself. The human chaos is actually strengthening the quantum field." Sarah watched as the galactic quantum network transformed before their eyes. The rigid, perfect structure of the collective's design was giving way to something new. A hybrid system that combined their ancient stability with humanity's adaptive chaos. "We did it," Maya whispered, staring at the readings. "We saved the network by breaking it properly." "Not broken," Sareth corrected, his crystalline form showing new patterns of understanding. "Evolved. Your species' gift appears to be finding better ways forward by refusing to follow the known path." As the crisis subsided, Sarah looked at the transformed quantum network with a mix of pride and amusement. Humanity had just helped save the galaxy's most sophisticated communication system by teaching it how to be a little more human, messy, unpredictable, and all the stronger for it. "So," she asked, turning to the assembled archons, "who wants to help us figure out what else we're doing wrong in exactly the right way?" The crystalline being's responses showed a range of emotions, but predominant among them was something new: anticipation. The galaxy's perfect order had been disrupted by human chaos, and somehow everything worked better for it. The real revolution was just beginning. New protocol. The Great Hall of the Collective's Central Archive hummed with an entirely new kind of quantum resonance. Crystalline archons stood alongside human scientists, their forms refracting light patterns that showed a mixture of amazement and lingering disbelief as they studied the displays before them. "The hybridization is complete," Sarah Chen announced, gesturing to the quantum field visualizations that filled the space. The human mesh networks have fully integrated with the collective's infrastructure, and the results are, well, see for yourself. The displays showed something that should have been impossible: a quantum network that was simultaneously ordered and chaotic, stable, and dynamic. The rigid perfection of the collective's original design now flowed and shifted like a living thing, incorporating human unpredictability without losing its fundamental structure. Remarkable. High Overseer Ktareth observed, his crystalline form showing patterns of deep contemplation. Your species' chaotic methods have not merely survived integration, they have enhanced the entire system. The quantum field is stronger than it has ever been. 3 months had passed since the Viridian attack, and the galaxy's quantum infrastructure had undergone a transformation that neither humans nor the collective had anticipated. What had started as an emergency measure had evolved into something entirely new. Check this out, Wei called out, bringing up a new display. The gaming networks we connected. They're not just communicating, they're teaching the quantum field new tricks. Every time someone plays a game, the network learns new ways to handle quantum states we never even thought to try. He assembled archons shifted in what Sarah had learned to recognize as their equivalent of uncomfortable awe. The idea that entertainment systems could improve their sacred quantum infrastructure was still somewhat scandalous to them. The implications extend far beyond communications, Maya added, pulling up another set of data. The hybrid network is opening up entirely new fields of quantum physics. These patterns here, we think they're doorways to aspects of quantum mechanics that neither of our species had discovered alone. Because we were both right, and we were both wrong, James explained, his earlier skepticism of human methods now tempered by undeniable results. The collective's perfect order provided the foundation, but it needed our chaos to evolve, and our chaos needed their order to achieve its full potential. Sarah watched as a new quantum signature appeared on the galactic map. Another human colony establishing itself in a distant star system, its crude but effective quantum processors immediately integrating with the hybrid network. What had once been considered a potential catastrophe was now the galaxy's greatest technological revolution. There is still much to learn, Ktareth noted, his patterns showing both concern and curiosity. Your species' approach to quantum mechanics violates principles we held sacred for millennia. Yet we cannot deny the results. That's humanity's secret weapon. Sarah smiled. We're really good at being wrong in exactly the right ways. We don't let our understanding of what's impossible stop us from trying anyway. A dangerous approach, one of the junior archons observed. An essential one, Sareth corrected. The Viridian attack proved that perfect order, for all its beauty, is vulnerable precisely because of its perfection. The universe itself thrives on a balance of chaos and order. We have forgotten that. The displays showed new quantum signatures emerging across the galaxy as more species began adopting the hybrid approach. The rigid hierarchy of the collective was giving way to something more dynamic, more alive. Humanity's incorrect methods were spreading, not through force or mandate, but simply because they worked better. We're picking up interesting signals from the quantum field, Maya reported, studying a new pattern emerging in the data. It looks like, I think we're detecting quantum networks from other galaxies. The hall fell silent as the implications sank in. The hybrid network's enhanced sensitivity was revealing something that even the collective's perfect systems had never detected. The quantum fields of distant galactic civilizations, each with their own unique approach to quantum mechanics. Well, Sarah said, unable to hide her excitement, I guess we're all about to learn some new ways to be wrong. Anyone up for some intergalactic quantum mesh networking? The Archon's pattern showed a complex mixture of horror and anticipation. Humanity's chaos was about to be unleashed on an intergalactic scale, and there was no way to predict what would emerge from that contact. The universe is vast, Sareth observed, his pattern showing what Sarah had learned to recognize as amusement, Perhaps it is time we stop trying to impose our order upon it and learn to embrace a little creative chaos. As if in response, the quantum field rippled with new patterns, the first tentative connections forming between galaxies that had developed in isolation for billions of years. Humanity's accidental revolution had opened doors that no one had known existed, simply because humans hadn't known those doors were supposed to be impossible to open. To the future, Sarah proposed, raising a coffee mug to the assembled beings. May we always find new ways to be wrong together. The crystalline forms of the archons shifted in what had become their approximation of human laughter. The perfect order of the universe, they were learning, was its perfect imperfection. And humanity, in all its chaotic glory, had somehow stumbled upon that truth by simply refusing to accept that anything was truly impossible. The galaxy would never be the same. It would be better.